This is the only one. This is the only Quentin Grimes and RJ Barrett picture I could find on the internet.
So yeah, they want Reddish, or sorry, they want Grimes, they want RJ, they want Obi. And
well, this is not even what I'm talking about. So with the trade kicker, if they trade RJ Barrett, which was the package that it was built around, they would be sending over $46 million instead of $30 million. Pre-contract, it would have been a package of, I believe, RJ Barrett, Evan Fournier, and Obi Toppin would have been enough. But now it would have to be an offer of Evan Fournier, Obi Toppin, and Quentin Grimes to keep it at 30. But if they do a deal of RJ Barrett, Evan Fournier, and Obi Toppin, that would be $46 million. So they would have to send Donovan Mitchell plus like Bojan Bogdanovic or Jordan Clarkson and Rudy Gay.
Do they have to give that to New York, or can they give that to like a Lake Show or a third team?
Any deal, including RJ Barrett, his contract is now worth, I believe. Let me actually.
It's 120 for 4.
Let me pull this up.
Can they trade? Can they use as salary filler or matchers? Can they send like Bogdanovic to LA, or does that not work?
That's what's gonna happen. Is like I said, they're gonna use LA as the salary dump for contract.
Because that extension really complicated this whole matter here for both teams. I still, I like RJ. I think Jalen Rose was just talking about this. I really like what he's so young, and this dude lives
Can you see this?
Empire State. Yeah. He's like never in the news for like negative, like he's never out partying, smoking, boozing, like he's just always like to himself. You don't know too much about his like personal life. I like that.
All right, so can you read this? So with this is from Bobby Marks. So with the new contract, this is basically example A. The original deal of RJ Barrett, Evan Fournier, and Quentin Grimes would have been 31.2 for Donovan Mitchell. That works out, okay? Includes trade kicker. But now with RJ Barrett's contract, the average of the extension plus current contract brings up RJ Barrett's trade kicker, like trade value now, from 10.9 million to 26.2. So a deal that would have been for RJ Barrett, Evan Fournier, and Quentin Grimes, now instead of being 31.2 million, it's 46.5, meaning that if the Utah Jazz wanted to do this trade, if we kept the trade the same, the Utah Jazz would have to include, if we're looking at salaries, so they have to bring it up. Just Donovan Mitchell makes 30.9. So right now they're down $15.6 million. So they could include Malik Beasley, and that's basically fits nicely. Or they could go, hey, we'll send you Jordan Clarkson and Rudy Gay. You guys add in maybe like, Obi Toppin in this deal. We'll do Barrett, Fournier, Grimes, Obi Toppin for Jordan Clarkson, Rudy Gay, and Donovan Mitchell.
So you can't sub out Fournier for Obi Toppin and make the money work, because isn't that?
Yes, you could.
Interested in Obi?
I mean, hypothetically, yes, you could. You could do that, but you would assume that at this point, I guess, yes, you could. Yeah. I mean, yeah, you could take out Barrett and put in, because if you put in
for Fournier,
you take out Fournier and you put in Obi Toppin, that'll bring you to what? Toppin's only making 5.3, so 13 million. So you really would all they would have to, you would only be $2 million over. So what you would have to do is add someone like, I don't know if Stanley Johnson can be traded so quickly, but maybe like Jared Butler, or I don't think they want to trade Balmaro. Maybe, yeah, like they would be just $2 million over. So maybe you have to do like a Miles McBride or somebody.
Yeah, I'm just, because from Utah's perspective, I'm not interested in Fournier. He doesn't do anything for me. I don't even need to trade Donovan Mitchell quite yet. You do need Mitchell to buy in at least for a little bit. Like, who's their center right now? They need to go out and get a center if they're keeping Mitchell. But from the Knicks standpoint, I almost don't want them to do this. I'd rather have them, like, I'd rather get Fournier off my contract next season. I'd like to get rid of Randall, Fournier, and I like. There's just next year in free agency is just so big. I don't know if Donovan Mitchell is worth, or it's not that he's not worth it. But I just don't know if this is something they desperately need to do. Like, I want to see them go out and get like a Christian Wood or a Jeremy Grant to pair up with Mitchell Robb, but I guess at that point you kind of need RJ to really take that next step. But the thing with RJ is he's gotten better every single year. So,
well, RJ. So part of the reason is like there's RJ Barrett can still be traded to Utah, and this isn't even what we were mainly going to talk about. But the thing is that RJ Barrett. The thing is Utah didn't want to be the ones to pay for RJ Barrett. So if they traded for RJ Barrett, they're cool trading for him now that he has a contract because they can argue, hey, we weren't the ones who gave him the contract. Because the problem with RJ Barrett is he's a good player. But the problem is he's not a top of the line player. So RJ Barrett, maybe he retires with 1 or 2 all-star appearances, but he's never going to be more than that.
Cool.
And that's not a bad player. This guy's going to be a starter in the NBA for 12 to maybe 15 years. But
we're seeing the guy who's never really had an injury issue and is putting up 20. It's gotten better every season.
He's not elite at anything. Again, RJ Barrett, one of the best basketball players in the world, a world-class basketball player. Nothing against him.
He's 21 years old.
I know. But you're telling me from his draft class, if we pull up, what is he, the 2019 draft class?
Yeah.
2019 draft class. All right. Let's talk about the guys that he got drafted in the lottery or around, okay? In the 2019 draft class, Zion and John Morant definitely, got paid more. I would put RJ Barrett and DeAndre Hunter. I would put RJ Barrett in front of DeAndre Hunter just like not by much, but I think RJ Barrett isn't as good as Darius Garland. He's better than Kobe White, Culver, Jackson Hayes, Rui Hachimura, Cam Reddish, Cam Johnson, PJ Washington. I would put maybe RJ Barrett and Tyler Hero. I think RJ Barrett's probably a little bit better than Tyler Hero because he gives defense, so he's over Tyler Hero. So you keep going through there. Romeo Langford,
3
Demboya,
players,
Chumo Kiki,
so
Nickeil
3
Alexander.
players are better than him from the lottery.
I'm looking still. Yeah, 3. Okay, Jordan Poole, Kevin Porter Jr. Like I have faith that Kevin Porter Jr. has more potential than RJ Barrett to be a superstar.
I just like.
Would you pay RJ Barrett more money than Jordan Poole?
Yep. My thing with this is like, I first off, I really hated that comparison of DeAndre Hunter because not even close. Poole getting there. I think Poole.
What about Keldon Johnson? I forgot to mention.
No.
I think Keldon Johnson and RJ Barrett are the same level of player.
No, I think RJ's a little bit over him. We've only seen one.
You just said a little.
We've only seen 1 year Keldon Johnson perform at the level he's performed,
and he performed better than any season that RJ Barrett has.
Based off what?
Just literally, if we just look, okay, Keldon Johnson. Let's look at their PERs. I know, obviously, Keldon.
RJ Barrett has a better defensive rating and is scoring 20 points per game with 6 rebounds, 3 assists, 37% career 3-point shooter. Like, I don't like this slander at all. DeAndre Hunter's defensive rating is like 117. Keldon Johnson's like 115.
Is it actually?
No. I'm paying RJ Barrett like the Knicks just did. I'm keeping RJ Barrett on my basketball team, and I'm using Quentin Grimes, Obi Toppin, and free agency next year to get to that next level.
Okay, so the PER, by the way, player efficiency rating, 15.7 for Keldon Johnson, 13.7 for, RJ Barrett. And RJ Barrett was on a team with a better... Did they have the same record, the Knicks?
No.
What was the Knicks record? 37-45, Spurs.
Oh, shit. Yeah, the Spurs did kind of creep up there.
Yeah.
I think they still had like 34 wins.
Yeah, 34 and 48. Good memory. So, look, Keldon on a word. I don't know. I think Keldon and RJ Barrett are on the same tier. I think Keldon, I don't know. I think Keldon Johnson and RJ Barrett, like same tier, good starters, guys who are going to be long-term starters in the NBA. I don't know if I put them at all-stars. Like, I think I see both Keldon Johnson and RJ both being like 1 or 2-time all-stars, but at most, I just don't see them being like top 25 players. That's my thing. I don't see either of them like. Do you see RJ Barrett being a top 25 player in the NBA?
Yeah.
I could see
there's just scoring wise, there's only 26 people ahead of him.
I don't care about score. I could see him being a top 40 player, but I just don't see him being that like.
I've got it here.
Okay.
You want to take a guess on RJ Barrett's second half season?
Sure.
Because he started brutal.
22 and 7-7.
You're close. So keep this in mind. In the month of November, right after the brief October stint that we get, 13 points a game. Brutal.
Yeah, he had a really bad
terrible
stretch. Yeah.
Well, so what we see in February and March? Well, I'll tell you what we saw. We saw combined 26 points per game, and post All-Star break, we saw 25, 6, and 4. So,
okay. So, if RJ Barrett, I'm not saying he's going to average that for a season. I will admit that I'm wrong on RJ Barrett if he averages 22, 5, and 4 this season. I will solely admit that I'm 100% wrong. But I will admit it was brutal to watch that first, like from November to January.
It's kind of hard to make an offense when you have no point guard. It's just kind of hard.
I know, but like the thing is he has steadily improved. I'm just in the camp, and I'm not saying RJ Barrett's a bad player and he's a great guy. He's just, in my mind, I see him as the third guy on a championship team, maybe even the fourth guy. I'm not saying that he's Tobias Harris.
Yeah.
But I see him more as kind of like a Drew Holiday in a big three. If you compared it, like if he was in a trio like Drew Holiday, Chris Middleton, and Giannis, I see him being like the third guy in a trio, not the Batman and Rob.
That's fair because those are two really talented.
Yes, but yes, those are two talented. I know, and Drew's been criminally underrated his entire career. What, a one-time or two-time All-Star? I think only once. And like I see, okay, let me take this back. I think RJ Barrett could reach like Drew, different positions, but Drew Holiday, Mike Conley, which is like probably being underrated his entire career.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, the Drew Holiday analogy is pretty interesting because when he first got to Philly, I mean, he's starting every single game and he's getting over 33, 35 minutes a night.
Going to New Orleans ruined him because people just stopped watching him.
Yeah. And once he got to Milwaukee and they won it their first year, people were kind of reminded of his eliteness.
It's the same thing with Mike Conley.
Mike Conley's severely underrated as well.
Because of Memphis, because he's played his whole career.
Both of those two what I'm trying to say here is both of those two players at RJ Barrett's age were putting up significantly worse. I'm talking like 8 points per game less than RJ. So I'm just very hopeful for RJ's continual ascent to stardom. I guess I'm just banking on him becoming a star here because I like what I see. I think Jalen Brunson really does a lot for this Knicks squad. And like I said, I think that I'm not trading for Mitch. I don't think he's getting me to that next level. I'm going into free agency next year, and I'm probably evaluating my young cats right now, Quentin Grimes, Obi Toppin, etc. And I mean, this is a playoff team. So I kind of want to see. RJ will always have trade value. He's 21 years old, scoring 20. So I'd go a whole nother year. I'd go home. And apparently the Jazz aren't even having conversations with any other team, and the Knicks have what, until next Monday to make this happen. I don't think Mitchell's that much. I don't think just because you get Donovan Mitchell, it's like, all right, yeah, now we have a finals team here.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's definitely.
If it's going to be a process, I'm going with. And especially, like, the New York Knicks have had so much trouble ever since I was born of re-signing rookies. And they finally got 2 of them this year, and that's, like, a huge step in the right direction. I just really like what they have going on, and I don't want to mess with it too much quite yet. Maybe at the trade deadline, if things are looking like, all right, this is not happening.
Do you want to hear a stat? RJ Barrett is the first rookie the New York Knicks, first round pick the New York Knicks have signed to an extension in 30 years. The last guy to sign an extension that was a first round pick drafted by the New York Knicks was Charlie Ward, who is